On this episode of Where's the Line, me and Joseph talk about college baseball, college basketball. We go to the Love Corner. We talk about court stormings, a little bit of everything in this one. It is episode number 118. Let's get into it.
You are now listening to the Where's the Line podcast with Joseph West and Britt Dillard. Enjoy the show.
Milton gonna take a shot wide open and just strutting in is Keaton. Joe Milton does it again.
Orji again on a blitz. Levis pocket collapses. He's on the run. He just heaves it up. And it's intercepted by Vanderbilt. And let the celebration begin. The streak is over at 26. The Commodores win it.
Talk about Vanderbilt football. All I gotta say, and you're going to hell. Bye.
Okay. Another edition of Where's the Line? It is Thursday, February 29th. It's Leap Day. This is episode number 118. Did I already say that? Of Where's the Line? Welcome in. My name's Britt Dillard. I'm joined here by my good friend Joseph. How are you today, brother?
Great, Britt. It is Thursday. It's a beautiful day. It was a little chilly for some, but I love today. Britt, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day to be alive. I'm thankful that God decided I should be alive today, and I'm thankful.
I just want to say because I forgot that I literally just stuck. I'm being videoed, and I just stuck a random thing in my nose and held it. This is a vape. This is a Vicks. This is a vape. No, this is a Vicks. This is a Vicks vapor inhaler right here. Allergies. I told you that's why spring ain't number one. Them allergies. I got that congestion. I got to hit that inhaler when I can't breathe. Okay.
Interesting.
So that's all it was.
Yeah, interesting topic right off the bat. My whole life I've been allergic to cats. Okay, and all of a sudden, I'm not.
You're not allergic to cats.
I'm not allergic to cats anymore. I would go to my girlfriend's house and I would go to. Okay, I'm talking to you. You're my friend. Let's do it like this.
Okay.
I would go to Grace's house and I would hold the cat. Okay, and I would sneeze. I would sneeze my head off. My eyes would water. Now, like I notice, I'm like, I'm fine. It doesn't bother me. And I've even like really pet the cat like aggressively and rubbed my face with it, and nothing happens.
You're getting crazy.
So that's just God preparing me right there.
You're unallergic.
Yeah, so that's nice. That's nice. But no,
we back.
We're here.
Listen, it's spring. It's spring right now. We're about to get into when you get those. Some days in spring are so elite. Like I didn't put it as my number one, so I can't be talking it up that much. But some days of spring, when you get that like 68, 70-degree weather, when you just came out of that cold winter, man, I can't wait for some of those days. We got some coming up. I'm fired up for them. And that kind of brings you to the subject of love. This is that season, not as good as fall. Fall is the ultimate cuffing season. You got the hoodies, you give your girl.
Big boy season.
That's big boy season. You can cover up. I got the hoodie on right now. It's still hoodie season for your boy. But spring, also another good time. Want to be with your lady, spending some good time outdoors together. Maybe a little picnic action. Maybe a little walk. Maybe a little hike. I'm not taking no hike unless you're Gia Duddy. I'm not taking a hike. If you're Gia Duddy, I'll hike with you. But other than her, I ain't hiking. So, but maybe you and your girl like to take a little hike. I don't know. It's beautiful weather though.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Brett.
One thing about spring that it happens to me every year, it's like it's warm outside. The other day I was like, I don't want to wear a hoodie. I'm going to be hot.
Yeah.
And then you go and put on a t-shirt and you're like, man, I am bigger than the last time I wore this t-shirt. And I've been covering up my body for like 5 months, and now I'm just out here just looking big.
I'm smaller than I was last spring, so I totally relate the other springs. Although this one now, it's like I'm putting on t-shirts and I'm like, dude, I feel so much better in this shirt. So I'm on the opposite. This now spring is hype because I'm putting back on these t-shirts and I'm like, am I him? Like, how is this t-shirt gonna fit me again? I'm up right now. But Britt, it's about love. The love corner.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. Got several requests to come back weekly, and it's back. Okay, we're starting off with a love corner just because several of you texted me and said, Joe, we need more love corner. We need better questions in love corner, but we definitely need more love corner time. And I was like, okay, bet. So Britt has a question first. I have a few questions that got sent to me. So Britt, start us off. Who in the world is taking this advice? I don't know, but Britt, we're going to give it anyways.
All right. This is from Reddit user Liberal Film Nerd 76. Is it okay to dump my girlfriend because she is not cool with a dog living inside my house?
Here's why I say yes. Because ultimately, I hope you wait until you're married to live together, but not everyone makes that decision. So ultimately, there's going to come a time where y'all are going to live together, either now, in a few months, or in a few years, whatever. Especially if you have a dog right now that's like, young, and that dog's going to be living for a while, and like Britt loves Rizzo. Britt would trade everybody for Rizzo. That man loves Rizzo. He loves his dog. If you got that love like your dog, like Britt does for his dog, you are 100% not going away from that dog. Like, if you ask me, Britt, don't answer this, but in between Grace and Rizzo, Britt's taking Rizzo, okay? If you asked me as an honest man, I would tell you, and you had a gun pointed in my head and say, Joseph, who do you think he's picking? I'm picking Rizzo to be safe. That's the safest call, okay?
Yeah, that's why you gotta find a woman that loves what you love.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Or at least just love your dog.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes women just hate things that make men happy. Like, oh, get off the video game. Why are you watching that football game? Why are you playing Clash of Clans with your friends? Why you got to go fishing and golfing all the time?
Don't worry though, they can shop.
It makes me
hours.
happy. It makes me happy. Why wouldn't you want me to be happy?
Own these bozos, Britt. Own them. I love it.
I mean, there's obviously a healthy balance of spending time with your significant other, but like, I want you to have a life outside of our relationship. I mean, I think that's only reasonable.
Women don't make friends because they're normally not reasonable. So they normally don't have as many friends as men do. I mean, just truthful. People don't hate on that. I'm not a sexist. I'm just trying to speak some facts here. So my answer is yes. Britt's answer is obviously yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you can 100%. I agree. Break up with her. It's not going to work in the end. All right. I got a few questions sent to me, all by the same person. Shout out. You know who you are. You're a legend. Here's the questions. No, they're kind of broken into 3 separate parts, so we'll take them one at a time. Britt, here's the first one. How do you, as an individual, so like me and Britt personally, resolve conflicts, fights, or compromises in your relationship? So asking what's the best way to go about it? How do you do it? Maybe they're not great at it. I don't know if this individual did not specify. So I'm going to say I'll start it. Take some pressure off Britt here since I knew the question in advance. For me, I have at times in my life been kind of a hothead. Not kind of. I have been a hothead. I first of all, if it's anything competitive, I'm going to be a hothead. But even outside of that, and I haven't always just directly talked about it. But I feel like, especially as I've gotten older, not that I'm super old or anything, or trying to be like I'm 23 now, I'm mature. But as I've gotten older, I just feel like the more I want to sit down and just really talk about it. And that's like such a cliche answer, like just sit down and talk about it. But I think if you have someone else that really cares about you, and you really care about them, that they will, even if they don't agree with your side, they will at least sit down and try to understand it. And that's what's important. So if you're sitting down just trying to understand each other, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to get mad. Well, if you're really sitting down trying to understand your significant other, there's no reason you should be getting mad in the first place. So unless it's just like a really extreme conversation, like, it'd have to be, I would really have to judge it case by case. But for the most part, sit down with them, talk it out, have you a good conversation, maybe and get somewhere pretty too. That helps. Like go outside when it's a 70-degree day. Like I said, we got some coming up. Go outside on one of those days. Just say, hey, let's go to the park and talk about this. Walk around, talk. That just helps. When you're looking at pretty stuff, you're gonna be more positive. That's my
good answer. It's a good answer.
Thank you.
So with
good answer. Good answer.
What was it? Conflicts, fights, and compromises. So
that is correct.
If you're the man,
I didn't really touch on compromise. My bad.
If you're the man, and hopefully there's not two men in the relationship, if you know what I'm saying. But if you're the man, if you're the man, and there's a conflict or a fight, there's one thing that you got to do. You say, I was wrong. I'm sorry. It is not worth whatever it is. There are some things that are worth the argument. There are some things, you talk about compromise, some things a man should not compromise on.
100%.
But you got to pick your battles. You have to pick your battles.
Amen. I'll say this too. There are three, if you're a young male listening to this, which probably literally everyone is. So if you're listening to this, you're probably a young male. When I say young, like under 30, and you're single or just have a girlfriend, y'all engage in anything, y'all ain't that serious yet. You need to learn these three things right now. I got told this, words to live by. Okay? You're right. I'm sorry. I love you. In that order. You're right. I'm sorry. I love you. You learn those three things in that order. At it. And look, you're going to feel like you lost because you just had to say you was wrong. But at the end of the day, though, man, you save so much time and headache. You got to learn those three things.
Yeah, and especially like when two really hard-headed people come together, like in my relationship, part of two people becoming one person, you both have got to humble yourself and realize that not every single thing you do is going to be what you do from now on once you get married. Like,
yeah,
it's two people that do things completely differently that both think they're doing it the perfect, correct way. Does it really matter, the things that we're arguing about? Does it really matter the color of the stain on the porch or whatever?
First of all, if you're a man and you care about like what color the shutters are or like what color the porch is or anything like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm preaching to the choir because there will be conflicts come up and there's just something primal inside me that's like, I'm the man of this house. I'm the leader ordained by God to lead this family.
Ordained by God, he said. I mean.
But.
Yeah. Britt,
if you really love each other, you make it work.
I agree. Compromises, by the way, just because I didn't touch on it. That's definitely case by case, like Britt said. I mean, like for example, I'm not compromising. Like I'm not meeting in the middle about religion. Like, I want her to be a Christian. I want our kids to be raised in a Christian house. Like there is no compromise. There's no other way to look at it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like a lot of people are going to disagree with this. But for me, I don't care which way you vote, Republican or Democrat, does not matter to me. We can get through. That is not end all be all. But most of the time, it's going to be hard to find someone else like that. It's gonna be like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter to me I need to know how you vote. Like, because obviously that causes arguments in a lot of relationships. So like that I can compromise on. That I'm chill with. You know, you're whatever. Okay, dope. I like that. I understand why you think that way. That's cool. Now, there's some other things. Some compromise. I don't know. Compromise, I think, is case by case. I think it'd be hard to answer. Next one. Example. I'm gonna let you go first here, okay? So give you plenty of time to answer here. Example of healthy boundaries and how to put them in place, how to set them. Example of a healthy boundary, Brit, and how to set it up in the relationship, or set up the boundaries, set them up.
This is interesting because you can.
Britt, I'm still going to be listening. My allergies are acting up. Just 1 second, almost step away, but you're good.
Okay, this is interesting because it can either be really deep, like a serious boundary, or it could be something small. Like for me, do not touch my upper body. Do not touch me from the belt to my shoulders, between my arms. Do not touch me there. That's a boundary. Don't touch me. I don't know. I've never really ran into this much. Like, I know some people have boundaries of like guy friends at work that their girlfriend has, and like the term work husband or work wife, and to me that's completely ridiculous. That's an unspoken boundary. Like, there's some boundaries that you set and some boundaries that you're like, I shouldn't have to set that boundary. Like, why do you want to have a work husband? Why do you want to go party at a club or something without me? Like, that's a boundary that doesn't even need to be set. That's just being a good wife or a good husband. 100%. Or boyfriend or girlfriend. It doesn't, either way.
Yeah. Honestly, like, as a person, I don't know, like, that if I have a lot of boundaries. Like, I don't know that, like, when I got into a relationship, I'd be like, okay, like, you need to watch this, or like, you can't do this. Like, I'm a very like chill person overall. And so like, I don't really know if I would set any boundaries. Like Britt said, there's a lot of unspoken ones that I just feel like you don't have to say. Like, I shouldn't be telling you, or I shouldn't have to be worrying or telling you that you shouldn't be texting another dude at midnight. Like, ain't nothing good happening. I'm just going to be honest here. At midnight, when you're texting a dude, ain't nothing good happening. There ain't no reason I should even have to be talking about that. There is also, like, yeah, I don't really think I would set any boundaries. There are no boundaries. Like, to me, there are no boundaries. Boundaries do not exist.
That's not true, though.
Boundaries don't exist.
There are boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, I guess it depends too. Like, okay, first of all, there are boundaries. That could be taken out of context. Don't clip that, boys. There are boundaries. No, 100% means no. Okay, let me say that. So there are boundaries. That's
not what I was alluding to.
I know, me neither, but I just had to make sure. Sure, ain't nobody saying that, or ain't nobody thinking I'm saying that. Okay, I don't support anything of that nature. That's ridiculous.
Okay, let's get on track.
Anyways, getting back away from that subject, there are boundaries. Okay, but like, when you're married, like, I don't know. Like, Britt, you brought up a personal boundary first, right? So like, I don't think, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I don't have any like, don't touch you above the belt. Like, no, ain't none of that. Britt only likes to be touched below the belt, is what I heard him say. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, it's just what I heard. So I don't know if I have a personal boundary.
I don't know.
No? Okay. All right. Next question. I'm sorry. That was really bad answers. I know I didn't help any. When you were dating, or Joseph, since you are still dating, what are your standards and recommendations for other people's standards when they date?
As I'll take this one. Since I'm the only person here. I think as you get older, your boundaries change, or not boundaries. What was the word? Standard.
Your standard.
As you get older, your standard has to change. Like if you're 30 years old and you're like, I want somebody who's never been with anybody in a serious relationship, that's not going to happen. If you're 30 years old and somebody's never been in a relationship, there's a reason why they've never been in a relationship.
Red flag.
And like, I know people that are getting old and their standards are way too high, and I'm like, maybe we should chill out a little bit with those. I don't know. What do you think?
My standards are high. First of all, as an individual, like
first of all, you should never have low standards.
No. My friends actually the other day, shout out the two friends who always keep it real with me. They definitely listen to this. I'm not going to out them or anything or the situation we were talking about, but basically I was talking about this woman, and said woman was, they asked me what I thought she was on a scale of 1 to 10. I said 8.5, right? Like nothing. Someone's probably going to call that sexist, whatever. Rating women, no big deal. You probably rate dudes, same thing.
You rate everybody you see.
Facts, you do.
Everybody listen to this. Every person you see, you're like, okay, that person's ugly. Okay, that person's not ugly.
Okay.
Whether you think about it or not, you do.
Or that person is mildly attractive. That person's very attractive. Like, I think that you can go through all different sorts of things. But anyways, so my friend was like, yeah, he goes, what was the exact? The exact sentence was something along the lines of, yeah, you only ever go for the 12 out of 10. So I was shocked that you were going to talk to this 8.5 out of 10. So basically saying, hey, Joe, basically what Britt said a second ago, Joe, you're 23, bro. The standards are a little too high. I'd probably drop them. Okay. For me, standards in a woman, because I'm a bachelor, what I'm looking for here is woman of faith for sure. We already discussed that. Got to be a woman of faith, preferably have decent biblical knowledge, but we are still really young. So I'm not banking on her to have a great biblical knowledge or anything. That's standard number 1, faith, 100% got to line up with me. Number 2, standard. I mean, I gotta find her super hot. I mean, that's just honest. I gotta find her smoking hot.
That's okay.
I have got to, if I do not think that she is smoking hot, like a 12 out of 10, I'm not going to talk to her.
That should be everybody's standard.
And people are like, all the time, they're like, oh, that's so shallow. I just don't get how. I'm so confused on how that's shallow. I just don't get it. Also, here's another thing too. A lot of people, somebody asked me this the other day, and I started dying laughing. I'm not going to say my answer, but Britt, just because you're going to think it's funny, I'm going to say it. Someone asked me the other day, do you try every time you date and break up with somebody, does your next girl have to be hotter? Because that's what it looks like you do. That was a direct thing said to me as an individual. And I busted out laughing. It was like, I don't really think that's ever came to my attention. Was the next sentence that I said. I don't think that's ever came to my attention. It was like, hey, my next girlfriend has to be hotter than the last one. But I would say that's a good standard to have, that you're always upgrading. That's terrible, but I thought it was funny.
Like, if there are any women out here listening,
we love you.
Which you shouldn't. You should just you shouldn't
get off the podcast, honestly.
I think this would make a woman feel good, a married woman feel good to hear me say this. Your husband would not marry you if he did not think you were hot.
Yes, 100%.
And if he did marry you and he doesn't think you're hot, y'all ain't gonna be married long.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm just being honest.
I mean, let's keep it real. You're not. He's gonna find something better, a girl with a little less clothes on. It's history.
Listen to listen to anybody. Listen to old people. An old man talking about his wife. He's like, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. That's what every husband says.
Yep, facts. Also, here's something else too. Point number 2 is kindness. You can see kindness and compassion on your first 2 days. Take your girlfriend out, or the girl you're talking to and taking out on a date. Take the girl that you're taking out to a nice restaurant and see how she treats the server. Just that. Look at that. You can tell a lot about a person just by that. Or go out and just see how they treat a retail worker, or even someone just picking up trash or something. Like, how are they treating them? Why are you laughing right now?
I thought you
confused.
were.
What did
I
say?
thought you were gonna say something else. Go ahead.
No. I'm not gonna say anything crazy. So Britt has died. Yeah. So standards same faith as me out because listen to this. If your standards are only physical, like if your standards is my wife has got to be a 12 out of 10, and she's got to have a huge butt,
Yeah,
and
you
she's
better
got
have
to
a
have
lot
a
of money.
nice rack. Well, Britt makes a good point with you better have a lot of money, but I'm going to tell you something. Your girlfriend or wife is going to get old, and she's going to get ugly. You ever seen a hot 70-year-old before? If you have, don't answer, Britt, because I would call you sus. So, no. The answer to me, if you ask me, no. The answer is no. I've seen a hot 50-year-old because Jennifer Aniston was over 50. She's less attractive now, but she was hot.
Yeah, she looks kind of bad.
She's less attractive now, but yeah, she was over 50. So, but over 60, let's say. I ain't never seen one. So your girlfriend's gonna get old and not be as attractive anymore. You better have some things that you love about her as a human. And most of mine are like all human aspects. Like my standards all like revolve around like what kind of human you are. Are you kind? Do you show compassion? Do you like to gossip? Like, what you say and do in the future is going to affect me when we're married. When you say something out of pocket, it's going to reflect badly on me. So I have to make sure that I'm willing to live with all of your consequences as well, for the most part. So, yeah, most of mine, I think having standards, just don't. Honestly, I kind of disagree with Britt here. I do not care if you're 30 and single. Do not lower your standards. Don't lower them. If you're 35, don't lower them. If you're 40, don't lower them. If you're 50, now, if you're one of those people, though, that you're going to get desperate at some point, because I feel like I know a ton of people like this, they got desperate and they lowered their standards for somebody and they got with them and they're unhappy now, which is super sad. Like I 100% do not agree with, but super sad they're unhappy. And they did it only because they got desperate because they did have too high standards until they were 35 and they got desperate until they were 30 or even 25. People get desperate, all the time in their 20s. They're like, I'm 25 and not married. I got to do something. Dude, it's fine. We've got plenty of life to live.
I'm not saying like make a move out of desperation. I'm more saying like don't have ridiculous standards. And I almost think that it would be more likely for you to find a partner if you're not looking for one. Like if you're just living life like the way that you want to, you're doing cool stuff that you like you're gonna run into a lady that you think's cool.
Yeah.
Because if you're just going around like on Tinder or whatever, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting on Tinder, but like if you're just looking at looks first,
it's over.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
it's over.
You should find your lady attractive immediately at first sight, but that shouldn't be the only reason. I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words.
No, I think I agree with. I know what you're saying. You even said it, but I agree with you. I think first of all, you do immediately have to find her hot, but also after that, like there's been girls that I've went out on a date with that I've found super attractive, and after one time in particular, after one date, I was like, I will never see her again. There is no way. There is absolutely no way. I would never. I know what you're about to ask. You want to say her name? I don't. I would never put her on blast like that. But
who was it though?
Yeah, that's awesome. Still though, it was just crazy. Just looking back, it was crazy how it all went down.
It's funny how like you can be desperate or whatever, and you go on a date and it doesn't go well, but you're not sad. You're almost like happy. You're like, man, that girl is crazy.
I've probably been there before. I think I've been there before. I'm not afraid to out myself here.
But man, I've had my heart broke before.
I mean, heart been broke so many times. I don't know what to believe.
I don't know why I really said that, but
I mean, you got to let the people know that you got experience. See, some people don't know about that Britt Dillard history. We got to fill it. We'll just go through all your girlfriends real quick. Just all right, Grace, stop listening. Obviously, kidding.
And I contend that I've only had one girlfriend, but my girlfriend, my fiance, doesn't agree with me. She said
no, they never will.
So
they never will agree with you. So yeah, that wraps up the love corner there. Me and Britt Dillard giving out dog advice here. and that's DAWG, not DOG. So let them know. Moving on from love, something I love actually more than I've ever loved a woman. The Vanderbilt Commodores. We are in Vanderbilt season, the season that has kept Vanderbilt fans alive the last decade, and that's baseball. Vanderbilt honestly started out kind of rocky. I think a lot of fans got really nervous really quick. When you drop one of the opening games to FAU, I believe it was. I'm getting their schedule put up now. To FAU, and then you drop another one to Dayton, where you absolutely the bullpen fell apart again, and you lost 5-8. And then you lost a game to Gonzaga where you gave up 8 runs in 1 inning to close out the series. And they honestly just struggled. The bullpen struggled. They walked a lot of guys. They couldn't get the bats going when they needed them to. And then Tim Corbin on Sunday must have told all the dudes on the team that he was going to burn their house down if they didn't play better. And they just come out and absolutely went nuts against Indiana State, a really solid baseball program. Was in the super regional or the regional last year, and a good baseball program, and beat them 20-4, run ruled them, and then got another win yesterday against Evansville 7-3. Our next game will be in a little classic thing they've got going on against the Raging Cajuns on Friday, tomorrow, March 1st. So looking forward to. I still have not got out to the Hawk yet. I will be to the Hawk before March ends, at least once. I think I'm going to end up being twice. So baseball, man, it's wide open, Britt. We're about to get into SEC play before too much longer. I think that starts. Let me just scroll down here. When SEC play starts March 15th for the Doors. We play Auburn. Yes. You are at the basically 2 weeks, just a little bit more than 2 week mark here before we get into some SEC baseball. So baseball's really picking up. It's a long season, by the way. The Doors are 7-3 right now. Have won back to back. So Doors are trying to really get it going, and I can't wait for the rest of this baseball season.
Yeah, we're getting fired up, man. It's hard for me to fully just sink my teeth into baseball with basketball going on. But Tennessee's, they're really good again. They're a lot different than they were last year. Last year you were very dominant pitching, and I still think you have good arms, but it's just you relied on your pitching last year. Chase Burns, Chase Dollander, Drew Beam. Those 3 guys are as good as it gets for your top 3, but this year it's more you have solid, really good arms, maybe even great arms, but not quite elite. But your bats are just so good. They've just elevated their offense so much. And there's guys it's like the lineup's not even set because we have so many guys that we're trying to get at bats before SEC play that there's guys that we can't leave off the field because we have to have their bat. So it is exciting. I'm wanting to go to the LSU series coming up.
That'll be a good one. That'll be a good one to go to.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to get to the UT game when y'all come to town in May, I believe. I will pull that up. Yeah, May 10th, 11th, and 12th. The Vols will be in Nashville. Man, the Vols and Vandy truly. Me and Britt on this podcast several times. I brought it up, I think, all but once. Just talking about how cool it is, or how cool it would be if Vanderbilt versus Tennessee in a big ranked matchup, in football especially, because now Vanderbilt and Tennessee game could literally decide the SEC, not just the East. It could decide the SEC, or it could decide if they're head to head and the loser gets knocked out of the championship game. It could have some huge stakes now. Definitely playoff implications if you were ever that good, but you have that in baseball. We haven't got to see an Omaha matchup yet.
It's a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. And when that does happen, I don't think I talked to Britt for at least 24 hours after the game or after the series ends, whether that's, 3 games or 2. But that will be legendary. The whole entire week up to it will be legendary. And the series this year will be amazing because this is the first year, me and Britt talked about this a little bit earlier today, but UT's got 8 of the last 10 against Vandy. And when you look at those teams, there's specifically one team, which would have been the 22 doors. No, I'm sorry. It would have been, no, 21 doors that I thought really should have beat the Vols all 3 games. Like, I didn't think the Vols had any business winning those games. Outside of that, like last year, I think you could call the Vols a better team than Vandy, especially late. I think Vanderbilt weren't even a third of the team that I thought they were when the beginning of the season rolled around or what came around. And then if you look at the year before when Tennessee went, had a really good record in the SEC, if I was calling them the best team in the nation, they were ranked number 1. I mean, Vanderbilt's team, they had a down, like, just being honest, they had a down year compared to what you had seen the few years prior. And, like, you can't get, like, in 2020 with Rocker and Leiter, by the way, you can't convince me that we don't win it all. Like, I dead set I had money on the doors. I thought we were going to win it all COVID year. And so like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. So my point was to get there is that I thought the Vols in basically 5 of the last 8 have had the better team. But that is taking no credit away from what Vitello has done to bring, like I tweeted today and said, it's easy. They asked the question on Twitter is what's the best college rivalry in baseball? In college baseball, what's the best rivalry? And they had like 5 different pictures on there and I said it was easily Tennessee and Vandy. You have an elite program, one on the rise. Britt corrected me and said an elite program and one on the decline. I'm obviously switching the roles there. But I would say an elite program and one on the rise. I think you have to sustain it getting there, but they've made it to Omaha once and made a super regional. So made it Omaha twice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tennessee, we're baby baseball fans. This is new. This is new to Tennessee fans. So in 2022, that was the year that Tennessee was number 1. The check the bat stuff at Vandy happened. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Did Vanderbilt go to Omaha that year, or was it the year before that?
I don't think we haven't been to Omaha in 2 years. Well, 2 years in a row.
Okay, so it would have been in 21.
Yes.
So that was the year we were both in Omaha.
I believe so, yes. I'm pulling it up right now, but I believe so for now. Keep going.
I think that's correct. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. I don't think we would see it in a super regional game. A super regional Tennessee Vanderbilt would
feed nation.
Absolutely. Yeah, it would be insane.
Yeah, it was 21. We have not been to the College World Series since 21. And since 2011, we've made it to Omaha 5 times, 11, 14, 15, 19, and 21. So, if you don't win this year, you're going to go on your longest streak of 4 years, really having to make it to Omaha without you snapping a streak there of going at least every 4 years. So we'll see. I think they've got it in them. I like this team a lot. Like Britt said, they're still shuffling the lineup. You've got young guys, Calvin Hewitt, who you always want to make sure to get in the lineup. Braden Holcomb, a true freshman who didn't nuke his first at bat. You want to try to get him in the lineup too. Got to have those power guys because with the way college baseball is trending, power seems to be the key here. You're giving up a lot of runs, and if you can't score, you're not going to win. And it looks like Vanderbilt's bullpen might be bad. Or at least not as good as I thought. So they're going to need the bats, step up. You need the power hitters in there. And just see if you can't go make something happen.
Yeah, I think as you mature as a sports fan, you realize how difficult it is to make it to the postseason, like to Omaha or to the college football playoff or to the Final Four. You realize it's freaking hard.
Yeah,
it's very hard. So, I mean, Vanderbilt going 5 times in the last 13, 14 years, like that says a lot.
Yeah, got 2 national championships in that time, 2 runner-ups, 21. Of course, we lost to Mississippi State, and then in 15, we lost to Virginia. You got 2 runner-ups, two natties. I mean, watching what Nick Saban did at Bama gives you a lot of respect. Because Corbin has been amazing at Vanderbilt. He's only got 2 titles, which baseball is a totally different sport. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot about who gets hot. But don't get me wrong, Corbin, to me, is one of the greatest college coaches ever. But it's it's just so tough to sustain the success of being the best team, especially in baseball, though. I don't even remember the last time we had a two-peat. It's been a hot minute.
I feel like it was recently. I feel like it was within the last 10 years.
Maybe it was.
But we cannot get off this podcast without talking about Dalton Knecht and Tennessee basketball. Speaking
I love basketball.
Of getting down to the nitty-gritty of a national championship, March Madness is approaching. Tomorrow's March 1st. Tennessee beat Auburn last night. It's Thursday. We're recording this. Dalton Knecht, 39 points. Probably the best single game performance. Definitely the best half of basketball played in Tennessee basketball history, I would say. I know I'm young, but I think I've heard pretty much everybody agree with me. What? Go ahead.
Oregon State went back-to-back in 06-07, just to add that in there.
Okay.
In baseball.
So I would not have known that.
Go ahead, Britt, though.
But Tennessee basketball, Auburn was the first game of a 4-game stretch. All 4 top 20 teams. You had Auburn, who you beat last night by a handful. Great game. Went all the way to the end. You've got South Carolina Saturday. Or no. You have Alabama Saturday, South Carolina Wednesday, and then Kentucky the next Saturday. I think if you win out and win a game in the SEC tournament, I think Tennessee has a case for the 1 seed, for a 1 seed. Joe Lunardi has them as the 5th overall seed, the number 1-2 seed right now. I don't know. You hear a lot about bias in football for the big teams, but I feel like basketball is really biased too. There's definitely darlings in basketball, like Duke, North Carolina, Gonzaga, Kansas
Kentucky
is a huge one. Kentucky is a massive one. Like, those guys seem to always get the benefit of the doubt, and that's how I feel about Zach Edey. Like, the guy's a freak. He looks like a freak, but he's like 7'4", 300 pounds. But give me Dalton Knecht.
400 pounds,
Dalton,
crazy.
Dalton Knecht he's earned SEC Player of the Year. I think that's locked down, but it comes to a point of who is the better basketball player. Like, no doubt, Zach. I feel like you like Zach Edey. You seem like a guy that's on Zach Edey.
I'm always, it's just, to me, like, you're bringing up the same argument that I fought a few years ago with Giannis, right? And it was like, well, Giannis actually isn't good. He just drives down the lane and dunks because he's so big. Like, I mean, I guess, but like, he doesn't have to do anything. Why would he ever want to? Like, to me, like, a lot of people are crapping on Zach Edey because of his shot selection. They're like, oh, well, he's a paint monster. Well, dude, he's 7'2". Why do you want him out there jacking up threes? No good coach wants his 7'2" center jacking threes. No, he needs to be under there getting boards and then putting it back up. That's what he needs to do. Like, that's his job. So I don't like the argument of, like, Dalton Knecht looks a lot better. Like, if I was going to compare it to somebody, give me Giannis to Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie Irving's going to look cool. He's going to do a lot of cool stuff. Same thing with Dalton Knecht. Dalton Knecht's going to hit you with a sweet jumper, might hit you with a nice move pull-up 3. That looks way more flashy than what Zach Edey does. Don't get me wrong. But to me, they're both super good basketball players. I think you could give, basically, what I'm going to call MVP, you could give it to either one of them. They're both great players. But I don't understand, like, that Zach Edey, like, his garbage take. Like, dude's averaging 25, 12, and, like, 2 assists a game. Like, dude's a dog. He's a beast.
Do you want the most talented basketball player or the player with the most God-given ability?
I want you to give me the player that makes their team the best. Whose team wins more, their most valuable player to the team. Who is the most valuable player? If you take this player off the team, it means more than this. And I think they both have a really good case. Zach Edey does a ton for Purdue. He always draws the double. He averages 25. He gives you 12 rebounds. Like, he does a lot for Purdue. On the other side, Dalton Knecht does a ton for Tennessee. He basically orchestrates the offense. He is the guy to go get a bucket when it matters. Like, Dalton Knecht does a ton for Tennessee too, just in a different way. So I don't like the Zach Edey sucks, so it is Dalton Knecht. It's both. I don't think they can go wrong either way. Like, if they pick Dalton Knecht, I'm gonna say, dude, he deserved it. And if they pick Zach Edey, I'm gonna say, dude, he deserves it. Like, either way, I think they're both two great players here.
And I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but it's almost like a gimmick. It's like when we were in high school and Johnny West would play football with us, two-hand touch football. It's like, you're not stopping this guy. It's not even fun to play with this guy. Like, there's guys I play Rainbow with. I'm like, he's like spawn killing me. He's like, he has like 50 days on the game. I'm like, it's not even fun to play with you because you like, what are you doing? It's more like that to me. And I just see it going the same way it did last year in March, when once it is neutral court, neutral officials, the game gets officiated differently for Zach Edey. They get put out in the first round. I'm not saying they're going to get put out in the first round, but I'm saying like big giant ogre freak. Nobody calls a foul because he's just a massive, or if you touch him, it's a foul. Let's talk about this Filipowski clown for Duke. Can we talk about that?
Okay, we will get to him. Let's finish that. Just to add, by the way, I have watched one Purdue game all year. So I have not watched Zach Edey.
I've watched one game, yes.
I am living by the stats. The game I watched, Zach Edey played great. I think he had like 32, I want to say. He played really well. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was impressed with him when I watched him. He moves well. Also, he's 7'4", 300 pounds. So that's a big dude. He's huge. Either way, whichever way they take it, I'm cool with. Also, Vandy, real quick, before we will talk Filipowski. Vanderbilt basketball got a win against Arkansas on the road. Oh God, we're in a disaster.
Yeah, you don't want to win.
If they don't get rid of this dude, we may have 100 season ticket holders next year. I mean, it will be so bad. Like, the fans have already sent a message with what they've done this year, but like, Vanderbilt fans are actually sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that matters. And they will not show up. Like, I've seen Vanderbilt fans that I never thought I would see question their fanhood, and they're genuinely questioning it. Like, why do we care so much if the athletic department doesn't care? And I agree. I think that's a great question to ask. But Jerry Stackhouse is a bozo. That dude sucks. He literally compared himself to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, when he said, he was like, well, Jesus had 12 disciples, but he said, there's 12 disciples, but Judas was one of them. Like, what, Jerry? Like, are you Jesus Christ and we're the disciples, and like a small part of the fan base is Judas? Like, I don't understand. This dude looks like a bozo after every press conference that we lose. He sucks. He's not a good human. He's not a good basketball coach. Get Jerry Stackhouse out of Nashville. I won't go on a huge rant about it, but that dude sucks. Vanderbilt's lost 20 games. We were 8-20. That's unacceptable. Congrats to the dudes for winning. Ezra Mignon played absolutely amazing against Arkansas the other night. He had 22 points. Ben Allen Lubin, a dude who I've not given enough credit to. That dude has busted his butt every time he's been on the court. He's a beast. If they can hold on to him and JRT for next year, a coach could come in with adding some more talent and be fine. Ben Allen Lubin, just for the record, shot 9 for 10 in that game, 19 points, only shot one free throw with 12 rebounds. So he had a pure 19 with double-double, only missed one shot from the floor. Dude's a freaking beast. The game before that, just to throw his stats out because I haven't been talking about him at all, he shot way worse, but shot 4 for 10, 15 points, 7 boards against Florida. He's just been solid down the stretch for Vandy. I know he didn't shoot well, but he's a 4. He's kind of undersized, and he's got no one else to look to, honestly, a lot of the time. So they suck. They suck bad. Jerry Stackhouse is a bozo. Go LSU, Kentucky, Florida. I hope we lose all 3 because I need Jerry Stackhouse to be sent to the sun. So I'm sorry, boys, but it's for the greater good. I need Stackhouse gone. Go Doors, but I don't need us to win in basketball.
So let's talk about court storming for a second.
Yeah. So
okay.
As soon as the incident happened, I just wanted to start with this. As soon as it happened, I didn't see it. Me and my dad were watching the Duke game. I went upstairs with that about 2 minutes ago. Didn't really care. My dad finished watching it. I ran downstairs for like the last 30 seconds because Duke got a steal. It was really close. It was sounding like a hype game. I got on there. I watched the court storming. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, that is so awesome for them. Like, good for Wake Forest. Me and my dad walk outside. I check my phone. Court storming, Caleb Filipowski hobbling off after injury. And I was like, I watched the video, and it did, like, in the video when I first looked at it, because the first video that came out was just the over-the-top look. I was like, holy crap, like, they did run right over his ankle. Like, he's probably actually bad hurt. And this is going to – I looked at my dad and said, this will change court storming forever. Like, they will make schools put security, like double the security, triple the security, whatever it takes to like just start, like, as people run onto the floor, like start clotheslining them or grabbing them up. Like, I don't know what they would do, but it was going to change it forever. Now, he's not personally injured, like, or wasn't injured badly. And
no, he was faking. He was a complete act.
And I never really like saying that about anyone, but
you've been banging around with D1 college athletes for 2 hours, and then some random civilian touches you, and now you're hurt. I understand, like, actually, I don't understand. It's like with Caitlin Clark. She flopped so hard. She's not hurt. She's fine. Kyle Filipowski, you're not hurt, man. You're fine. If it wasn't the darling of women's college basketball, and I like Caitlin Clark, I'm not trying to dog her, or a Duke player, nobody would care. Like, I think court storming is good for college athletics. And people point to the NFL. You don't see this in the NFL. The NFL doesn't have a college student section to storm the court or the field. And like Duke, this past football season, they stormed the field. When they beat Miami, they thought it was cool then, but now they can't do it. But I mean, you just look at the legendary court stormings like Tennessee, Florida in 98, Tennessee, Bama in 22, the Trump supporters on January 6th. Like, court stormings are awesome. Don't you agree, Joseph? Joseph's gone.
Really, really bad time to ask for my advice here. Give me about just about another minute or two, Britt. I have technical difficulties right now.
Okay, that's a lie. He's either on Clash of Clans, or he's turning his PlayStation on, or a woman's called him, or one of the boys has called him. It's one of those 4 things is what's going on now. There's no technical difficulties or anything like that. No, dude, we'll sit here. We ain't got nothing else going on.
All right, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm back. Listen, I told you I totally switched. Obviously, I have a headset on now. Okay, I actually had technical difficulties. I wasn't out here playing Clash of Clans or nothing that Britt said. Anyways, Britt, I actually kind of agree here. For the most part, I love court stormings. First of all, they're awesome. They are, like Britt said, they're literally awesome. I love a good court storming. The upset is all amazing. And I hope I get to take part in some field stormings one day for the Vanderbilt Commodores and some court stormings in basketball again. And it's just, it also, though, people, I saw a kind of a bad comparison, and Britt kind of commented on it earlier. Like, you are banging around with other student athletes or other athletic people, like much bigger, stronger people, for 2 hours. But court stormings are also dangerous. Like, they just are. Like, you can't have because, like, if that's me, I'm telling you right now, if I'm one of the people, like, if that's Vanderbilt in football, and we just knocked off number 5 Texas, and I storm the field, I do not care who's standing in front of me. A child, a woman, the kicker, I'm running them over to celebrate. They are getting trucked.
Yeah.
And like, I say that as like, I view myself as at least a decent human. So like, but I know my adrenaline would just be like, I would be so out of pocket with all the feelings I would be feeling that I would just have no self-control. I'd just go crazy. And so like, when you have people that are just unhinged running on the court, I think that is dangerous, but that doesn't discount anything else. So even with that being said, court storming's total dub.
You have to know when to storm the field.
Facts.
Like Tennessee, Alabama, perfect field storming. When Duke beats Clemson, Clemson's not good anymore. They suck. Dabo Swinney's our coach. They're terrible. Don't storm the court. Wake Forest, you were favored against Duke. Why are you storming the court? And let's not forget, I want this on my vault that goes over my casket when I die. Jermaine Burton punched a woman in the face on live television, and nothing happened.
That is relatively true. I don't know if I wouldn't say punched. His fist was not close.
He sucker punched a woman, an innocent white woman, in the face, and nothing happened. The only people that have ever said anything about it are Tennessee fans.
Yeah. The definition of punch is strike with a fist. He did not throw a punch then. I just had to make sure that was the definition. He did not have he did not have a fist, 100%.
I agree. If you completely change the entire English language, I could see how you would think that he didn't punch her.
I literally just
when you rear back
definition
and use the momentum of your torso to sling your arm around and hit somebody in the face, that is a punch. Okay, we can say slap.
It could also be a slap, though. Yeah, I'm just
okay. Joseph West is fine with people slapping women.
No. That does not mean that he is correct. But the definition from the Webster's Dictionary of punch.
Well,
power.
actually,
that's
you
Mr.
right now.
Dillard. But anyways, he definitely struck the woman to not get myself in any allegations. I'm not going to allege anything. I'm going to be direct about everything. He struck the woman. 100%. The fact that nothing was done is stupid. And also, if you blame the woman for being on the field, you're an idiot.
Okay, also, but I should not say this on the podcast. And I might consult with you. We may need to cut this out. If that was a white lineman, if that was Cooper Mays and he punched a black woman, could you imagine?
Yeah.
We don't have to cut that out.
No, we won't. We'll leave it in. Here's why. The uproar would be bad. And for multiple different reasons, but basically just to touch on the main two. One is because of the history of white people and black people. That does play a factor whether we like to it or whether we want it to or not. I wish it did, but it does. And so that's one reason it would be worse. And two, the media would paint the picture to be worse than it is, worse than it was, that it was some race thing. And everybody would buy into it because that's what always happens. And that's what we do. And both of those things are not Britt's fault. They're not my fault. They're definitely not any of your faults listening. So I Britt's not saying, like, a lot of people would say that's a racial statement that Britt just made. Me, not so much. I don't necessarily know. I think it's just how we have done it as a society. It's honestly sad.
No, you can't say anything without being racist. So
facts. But yeah, I mean, court stormings are still cool. I genuinely don't care. I still support court stormings. I do think though, like, people are talking about, what if you were like, okay, you can do it, you just have to let them shake hands first, or you have to let them do this. I think that's fine. I still think you're asking a lot of like, you're asking you to totally contain your excitement and bring it down. I really don't know how much sense that makes. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I'm dub court stormings. I mean, that's what it is for me. Also, one more thing before we get off this podcast. I was glad I looked at the notes on my phone. I have something to correct. All right. I was listening to some old podcast today, or the other day, actually, on, what was that, Friday, I guess. Friday, I was listening to mine and Britt's old podcast to see some old topics we may be able to bring up. And I came across one. And it was the debate between me and Britt about attendance, numbers, how much it matters, how much it doesn't matter. You know, a lot of UT fans like to give Vanderbilt fans a hard time because a lot of people don't show up. This is absolutely insane. Vanderbilt released some information. You have new numbers on something, which I actually quoted wrong. So Vanderbilt's total student body is 13,000 people. 13,000. Okay. That's it. 13,000. That includes graduate programs. And I did not even know that. Or I think I did to an extent. No, I'm just going to say I didn't know. I didn't know.
I mean, there's not that many grad students.
Only 7,000 of them are undergrad. Only 7,000. 6,000, almost half of the student body is graduates, is all graduate programs. Only 7,000 students of undergrad. So literally, that's all I'm going to reply with from now on, is my point. Is I was going to bring up stadium for just a second. If 100%, which would never happen, but if 100% of Vanderbilt's student body showed up, you don't even fill 10% of the stadium. Like, if 100% showed up, nobody else in the SEC has that argument.
Can I say something and bring it full circle right here?
Yes, Britt.
Vanderbilt's standards are too high.
What do you mean by that?
They got to lower their standards.
I'm sorry.
They're not.
I said that wasn't even 10%. It's actually like 12%. I'm sorry.
They're not some. Listen, Vanderbilt's not a 10. They got to lower their standards.
Vanderbilt's a 15, actually.
I mean, if you want to be a nerd, it's a 10.
Listen,
like, if you're a nerd looking for, like, Vanderbilt is a 10 for a theater kid.
Vanderbilt should be a 10 for football players and athletes and guys with and what's it called, Britt? I just went blank. What's it called when you're more to yourself and or like
introverts.
When you're more and the extroverts? Okay, if you're an extrovert, Nashville.
Okay, but
SEC. You're one of the
only
until Texas gets here, and I would debate whether they are or not. Austin, Texas, if it's a major city, I don't know. I would probably consider it one, but maybe it's not.
Yeah.
They're the only major city. I've said that 1,000 times. I would die on that recruiting pitch. I would die on it. That you have all of these different things.
Any football player that is interested in education enough to go to Vanderbilt is one of two things. They're either very mature and an anomaly, I would say, or they're not a very good football player.
Yeah, you're not selling, and that's where I think we mess up a lot. Is you're not selling Vanderbilt as an academic school when they come. That's not what you're selling it to the running back or the diva wide receiver. You're not selling Vanderbilt the academic school. You're selling Vanderbilt, Nashville, and the football program. That's what you're selling to them. You're not selling to them, oh man, we've got a great math building here. You're not selling it that way. Nobody is. Like Vanderbilt, even as bad as a job if we've done, there's no way they were selling it that way 30 years ago. They're definitely not selling it that way now. And like, don't get me wrong, there are some guys that, like Brett said, are anomalies, like Dante Carter coming in this year. Second best safety in the class, committed to Vandy. Dude cares about academics. He did. So like guys that care, sure, throw that stuff in there, pitch that to them. But for the most part, you're not pitching that. I mean, but honestly, I just had to get that off my chest because I had got someone else coming to me asking me about Vanderbilt's football attendance this year and how it was going to be. And I was like, I genuinely don't know why you're talking. They're a Tennessee fan. I was like, dude, listen, as soon as the student body steps into Tennessee Stadium, it's 25% full. All the student body has to do is show up. They're there. Boom, 25%. Done, taken care of. Just like that, drop of a hat. That's just, I just don't. I've never got the argument. I've always been on the other side of not understanding it. And I probably never will.
Where Vanderbilt is behind the 8 ball here is like Tennessee won 10 games last year or 2 years ago. And attendance shot up.
Yeah, Vanderbilt does have to win.
And not only did attendance shoot up, the acceptance rate went up. And Vanderbilt's not going to do that.
No. And another thing is that Vanderbilt has done their best to alienate sidewalk fans when that needs to be their number one priority. Your number one priority should be sidewalk fans.
Yeah, it's like they're snooty. Like you couldn't even afford to go to Vanderbilt. You're not smart enough.
Actually, let's just go ahead and pull up a tweet. There's a guy that played at Vandy. His name is Alfonso Harvey. No one literally cares about him. He played for a crappy Vanderbilt team in the late 90s. I literally do not care. But here's his tweet. Who this guy is supposed to represent Vanderbilt, is literally on Vanderbilt's website. Is as part of the like black and gold, something stupid. You're an idiot, CEO Harvey, if you're listening to this. This is the tweet. Quote, May 14th, 1999. I graduated from at Vanderbilt U. Many of you are sidewalk fans. Most of you are the people that didn't play for at VU Commodores. I did both. Say something witty to yourselves. I don't care. I don't follow you. Tact and decorum escapes you. I have never disparaged a coach that worked at my alma mater publicly and never will. You will never understand why, and that's okay. Accept your shortcomings in this department. I leave you to fight with yourselves. Hashtag anchor down. Absolutely the worst tweet I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Not even close. I don't give a piss if that Alfonso Harvey played for Vanderbilt. I don't give a piss that he went to Vanderbilt. I care about Vanderbilt athletics more than you do. I promise. Let's go bar for bar. Let's go dollar for dollar. Let's go band for band, Mr. Harvey, and see who stacks up more. I promise you, current roster, you're probably around the dudes more than I am. You probably know them better than I do. Don't care. I'll name more players. And we'll go, and let's go the year before, and let's go the recruits we got coming in next year too, and then we'll go 5 years back. Tell me the season, tell me the game, I'll tell you what happened. Simple. I love Vanderbilt more than you, CEO Harvey, and I hate you. I don't hate you, CEO. I hope, first of all, CEO Harvey, I hope you know Jesus. Don't seem like you do based off your tweets, but I hope you do. But the fact that you degraded the greatest Vanderbilt fans that I know did not attend Vandy. All the diehards that I know that share the same love for the Doors that I have, they did not attend Vandy. I met two of the biggest Vanderbilt fans I know when I went to Tennessee Tech. Literally, it's stuff like that that is unacceptable, that cannot happen, that will not let Vanderbilt's fan base grow outside of guys that grew up in Nashville, that just grew up a diehard fan like my dad did, and then I followed. Like, we're not going to – but ultimately, though, winning cures it. Like, people in Nashville, new people moving, they will become Vanderbilt fans because it will be something fun to do. It will be something fun to go do in the day in Nashville if Vanderbilt's good and the stadium looks nice. It will be something fun to go do. Let's go watch a Vanderbilt game. They're really good. Oh, Texas is coming to town. Oh, Oklahoma's coming to town. Let's go root on the local Doors.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you go to a Sounds game and you see people there like wearing Sounds jerseys. You're like, you guys are actually fans of the Sounds? It's like, I'm just here because it's cool.
To have fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they could make Vanderbilt that. And you could gain a lot of people. And, like, I think 4% of Vanderbilt's undergrads, I think, or no, it was higher than 4%. It was like, let's just say 10% because I want to shoot on the higher side. 10% of Vanderbilt's undergraduates lived in the state of Tennessee. So you're saying 90% of the 7,000 that you actually have probably grew up somewhere else. And if you're a football fan, you grew up rooting for another team not named Vandy. So, like, they're not coming to Vandy and then switching, especially not when you suck. So, like, I don't know. So many different problems, whatever. I love the Doors with all my heart. And I really wish maybe one day I'll be in control of the athletic department and I could fix everything and we would be great for my kids and their children. But probably not going to happen. Therefore, RIP. And I hope AD Lee fires Jerry Stackhouse. And AD Lee, please do it. I need you bad. You responded to my email, so AD Lee, I love you. Anchor down.
Thank you guys for listening. Goodbye.
Have a great one.
Have a great one. Thank you, everybody. Go Vols.